Welcome to this week's virtual drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to begin Chumash Bamidbar, to lay in Parshas Bamidbar, and we also have the schos that this Shabbos is Erev Shavuos. We get to use the Kedusha of Shabbos to prepare ourselves for the beautiful Yom Tov ahead. And Torah in Chumash Bamidbar, in Parshas Bamidbar, spends an incredible amount of time, first of all on census, taking the tally of the various tribes, then going into the details regarding where each tribe should camp, the flags of each of the tribes, but nestled in the midst of this information is another very important fact. The Torah says, this is in Perek Gimel, Pasuk Yud Beis. The Torah says, Va'ani, hine lakachti es halaviyim mitoch b'nei Yisrael tachas kol b'char. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I have hereby taken the tribe of Levi to serve me. Levi, Shevet Levi, has one singular task, one singular life mission, to go ahead and take care of sacrificial service and religious rites within the Mishkan and ultimately within the Beis HaMikdash. That's the Avod of Levi. We know that again, when the Jewish people go into Eretz Yisrael under the leadership of Yoshua, Shevet Levi, the tribe of Levi does not have a portion in the land. Every other tribe gets a portion. Shevet Levi does not. That of course wasn't punitive. It wasn't because Hashem was upset at Levi, just the opposite. Hashem chose Levi to lead a sanctified life. Hashem chose Levi ultimately, again, to be his representatives in the Beis HaMikdash, and ultimately to be Am Yisrael's representatives in the Beis HaMikdash as well. The Gemara discusses that Shevet Levi, the Kohanim and the Leviim, they're HaKadosh Baruch Hu's agents, and they're our agents, this sacred task. But interestingly enough, the parsha also highlights that Shevet Levi had another important role and mission. The Torah says, this is in Parak Aleph, Pasuk Nun Aleph, Ubin Soah HaMishkan, when the Jewish people would break camp and they would travel, Yaridu Osah HaLevim, the Levim would take down the Mishkan, Ubechanos HaMishkan, when they would set up camp again, when they would camp, Yakimu Osah HaLevim, the Levim would put the Mishkan back up. This was the job of the Levim, to take the pieces, to take the various parts off the wagon, and to reassemble the Mishkan. And Rav Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Koch, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Levracha, says something so incredibly beautiful. Rav Kook writes, I want to quote you his words. He says, Yesh avodas Hashem miyuchedas. There is a unique and special type of service of Hashem. Lakachas dvarim mifurakim v'livnososam. To take independent broken pieces and to build them into something whole and cohesive. Kol davar mifurak behaschala hayeshalim. Everything that is now a piece, right? Everything that is now an independent piece, at one point in time was part of a whole. No'im liros davar shalim. Everyone loves to see something that is whole. Aval yesh avoda miyuchedas lakachas es hamafurak ulachzira l'shlemuso. But there is a special avoda to take that which is broken into pieces and to go ahead and make it whole again. And Rav Kook here sees a beautiful symbolism. Imagine for a moment, dear friends, the following image. The Jewish people are marching, they're moving. They go ahead and they decide to make camp. The cloud stops. Hashem says, you're staying here. What's the first order of business? All the tribes, they know exactly where they're supposed to camp. In the middle of the camp is what we call Machen and Shechina. That's where the Mishkan is supposed to be. The Levim go over to the wagons, begin to unload the individual pieces, the individual parts, the boards and the curtains and everything, and they begin to put everything together. They begin to take individual pieces and they begin to fashion it into a whole. Rav Kook says, when we, the non-Levium, looked at this became an incredible metaphor for successful living as well. Because, dear friends, often in life we build things. We build things, whatever those things may be. We build relationships. We build careers. We build an identity, a sense of self. And sometimes it happens that which we built comes crumbling down. It was such a beautiful whole edifice. It looked, at least it wasn't perfect, but at least it looked so perfect. It was so symmetrical. It was so beautiful. All the pieces fit so beautifully together. And then one day, maybe it's not one day, maybe it's over time, it begins to crumble. Until the point comes, one day comes, I look at the edifice and it's no longer an edifice. I look at the structure, it's no longer a structure. The career is not there. The relationship is not there. The sense of self is not there. All of the pieces are all around me. And sometimes it's reflexive when I see that what once was a whole, what once was whole, what once was the edifice, the structure, and now all I see is the pieces, it's easy to give up. And it's easy to feel a sense of yeosh, of despair, of despondency, just to feel so broken. But says Rav Kook, The avoda, the mission of the Jew, is that when you see broken pieces, my job is to gather them up and to rebuild something. Impossible. Impossible. It's what the Leviim did every single time we traveled. We would stop, we would camp, unload the wagon, take the individual pieces, rebuild the whole. Rebuilding is possible. I could rebuild relationships, and I could rebuild careers, and I could even rebuild myself. Now let's be honest. Sometimes when you rebuild, right, the rebuilding doesn't look like the original structure. The relationship may not look the same. The career may not look the same. I won't look the same. But despite the fact that it can't be what it once was, doesn't change the fact that it can't be something beautiful. Each of us has the power, says Rav Kook, to take individual pieces and to refashion them into a whole. His words, Yesh avodas Hashem miyuchedes. There is a unique and special type of avoda. Lakachas dvarim mifurakim, to take broken pieces, v'livnos osam, and to build them back again, to rebuild them again, to put them back together again. The Leviim did it in the Mishkan, and it is our job to do it in life, because I would venture to say that there's no one of us who doesn't have something that is broken, who doesn't have something that was once whole, was once good, was once beautiful, but now it just came tumbling down for whatever the reason. My fault, someone else's fault, everybody's fault, whatever it is. I'm surrounded by pieces. And often the reflexive reaction is when you're surrounded by pieces, just run. Close your eyes, don't look, run away. If Cook says no. When I see broken pieces in life, when I see something that I built came tumbling down, my job is to find my inner Levi. Roll up your sleeves and put the pieces back together. We'll be as beautiful as before, not as beautiful as before, more beautiful than before. That only life will. Time will tell. Time will tell. But at least find your inner Levi and find the koach to rebuild. And I think that this is such an incredible lesson, especially on this Shabbos, which is Erev Shavuos. Because, dear friends, what is Shavuos? You know, we've spoken many times that in Yiddishkeit, we don't simply celebrate historical events. In Yiddishkeit, we find contemporary meaning in that which occurred thousands of years ago. On Shavuos morning, we're going to stand up for Aseres HaDibros, not because when we read the Ten Commandments are any more important than any other part of the Torah, but because we are reliving Sinaitic revelation. We are re-experiencing it. Just like Hashem came down on the mountain for Shavuos, every single year when Shavuos comes, Hashem comes down again. There's a greater intensity of relationship. Hashem makes himself available to us. It's an opportunity to reforge and reinvigorate and just remake our relationship with Hashem, because let's be honest, so often over the course of life, my relationship with Hashem is not as I wanted it. You know, it used to be I was here. It used to be my relationship with Hashem was so solid, was so great, was so beautiful, was so perfect. I'd built such a wonderful spiritual edifice, but for a variety of reasons, maybe it's come tumbling down. It happens. It happens. No one of us ever maintains a constant connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No one of us is always inspired. No one of us is always flying high. No one of us is always living on the top of Mount Sinai with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Even Moshe Rabbeinu has to come down from the mountain. And sometimes in our religious relationships, that which we've built, in our religious identities, that which we've built is maybe not as beautiful as it once was. And maybe what was once whole is now a whole bunch of pieces. Comes Parshas Bamidbar, find your inner Levi. Comes Yom Tov of Shavuos, Hashem says, I'm coming back, I'm coming down on the mountain, I'm coming to be with you. Let's take advantage of this opportunity to take the pieces of our religious lives, to gather them back up. And maybe you'll say, my religious life is great, fantastic, my religious identity is beautiful, fantastic. You know what, put on an addition. Build something additional, because you're not finished building. There's always more to build. There's always more to do. There are always more pieces that can be gathered up and built into a beautiful spiritual edifice. The Yom Tov of Shavuos is an opportunity for us to reinvigorate our relationship with Hashem, to infuse more passion, more excitement, more commitment, more devekos in our relationship with Hashem. It's the opportunity to take the pieces and to build them into a whole. And this is the great privilege we have on this Shabbos, Parshas Bamidbar, Erev Shavuos, going into Yom Tov of Shavuos, to find our inner Levi. So whether it's in our religious identity, our career, our relationships, or any other area of life, if something you have built has now tumbled down and has become individual pieces, find your inner Levi, roll up your sleeves. Remember the words of Rav Kook, there is no beautiful avoda. There is nothing more beautiful in life than taking individual pieces and reforging them back into a cohesive whole. There is nothing more beautiful than taking that which is broken and making it shalom. Maybe be Zocheh Meretz Hashem to do this on this coming Shabbos. Maybe Zocheh Meretz Hashem to do this on Shavuos. Maybe privileged Meretz Hashem to find our inner Levi until 120. Wishing everyone a good Erev Shabbos, a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh, and a good Yom Tov.